the broadcast section as usual, and then we'll stop halfway through and go on to the dailies. So first up, we'll go to Sky Sports News with Brian Swanson.
Hi Frank, how you doing? You all right?
Hi.
Sorry, I got there at the end. Just wondering, what's the team news? Any injury notes ahead of this one?
No, we're all the same as we were for Aston Villa. Fikayo Tomori's still probably about a week away from training properly with us, and Callum Hudson-Odoi is still searching for fitness. He's fit but not match fit yet.
What's your reaction to Willian and Pedro's contract extension? How significant was that, and what were negotiations like in the end?
I'm pleased. Negotiations were relatively easy because both sides wanted the same thing. The two players wanted to make sure they could see the season out with us. At this point, we need them in the squad. They're both important players for us, so I'm happy.
How more active do you expect to be, Frank, in this summer's transfer window?
I don't know, because we have the games that we need to complete before the window opens. So that's something that we'll broach when it comes round. So at the minute, our only focus can be on the games in hand.
Just to clarify, what are your hopes? What are your chances of Kai Havertz at Bayer Leverkusen, and how much you rate him as a player?
He's obviously a top player, but to follow on from my answer before, we're certainly not going to comment on other players of other teams, and it cannot be our focus. So nothing to say.
Can you confirm whether any bids have gone in, whether you're in talks?
No bids have gone in.
Looking at this game and looking at the history, looking at the rivalry, particularly with Liverpool, do you want to be the ones that give them the title potentially?
I've got absolutely no thought of Liverpool's situation compared to this game for us. It makes no odds to us at all. We respect Liverpool and Manchester City as two fantastic teams. In the last 2-3 seasons, they've been dominant. We can only look at it, what it means for us this match. We want to try and win. We go against a great opponent, and that's the only way I see it.
And just finally, last one from me, Frank. Have you got any thoughts on what we saw in terms of the banner that was flown over Burnley's game on Monday night and football's response to that?
Yeah, I think we were all disappointed with the banner. I think one of the really positive things about the recent happenings and the movement that's happening is the togetherness and that the players are showing, clubs are showing, everyone involved is showing to try and move forward. So I think it was a small step back, but the reaction, I think, has been another positive move, and everybody, has reacted in the same way outside of the people that think the other way to the rest of us. And I think that's been positive in terms of that. And we must keep moving forward. Every game, every day, you're seeing players, clubs come together. And that's a great thing. That's what this is all about, is being together, moving forward. And we have some work to do, and we'll all keep doing that.
Okay, next up, we'll go to Moose at TalkSport.
Hi Frank, how are you? All right?
Hi Moose.
We haven't seen many teams come from behind since the restart and win a game. You did that on Sunday. Why do you think that is? And do you think that it's made the first goal in every game really crucial?
I'm not sure why. I think in looking back over the game, it was a game that we had really good control throughout the game, and the goal was against the run of play. So we had to carry on doing what we were doing, and we were able to do that, and we got our goal. So a nice little pointer for us in terms of a bit of character and resilience in the team. We can definitely eradicate some of the errors that led to us being a goal down. But no, I don't know. I think football will always be the same crowd or no crowd. I think you have to try and be on point from the start of the game. I think we've seen a little bit of what we expected to see in terms of tempo, and maybe some teams tiring or not maybe firing on full cylinders. I don't think we are quite yet. So we need to try and get to that level as soon as possible.
Great news about Willian and Pedro, and I thought it said a lot about those two, that they made themselves available for last Sunday, where we haven't necessarily seen that at other clubs. Regarding Willian, we know Pedro is leaving. Willian, is there still a chance he could stay next season? Yeah,
we're still talking with the players, and Willian in particular, we're talking with him. And it was hard for me to comment too much because nothing, it was obviously announced yesterday, but I always felt confident that they would remain. They've been fantastic professionals for the club and servants in all senses. And when you have that level of professionalism within you, I think it was a sign that they wanted to stay and see out this season at least. So we'll carry on talking and see. But I think everybody's focus now is on these next games, the individuals themselves, and obviously us as a club.
I was at the Battle of Stamford Bridge a few years ago when obviously the 2-2 draw with Spurs handed Leicester the title. I know you're not really thinking about Liverpool, but has this game got a slight feeling of that?
No, I don't think you can match a Chelsea-Tottenham game to potentially stop Tottenham winning the league. It generally isn't a feeling that I've had at all. I'm aware of the situation, but I can only focus on us. I'm enjoying watching every other game at the minute, don't get me wrong, because football's back. But at the same time, we have a job to do, and our job is to go up against one of the best teams in the land, in the world, over the last few seasons and try and get a result.
Okay, next up, we'll go to BBC 5 Live, Pete Stevens.
Hi, Frank.
Hiya, Pete.
You well?
Good, thank you.
Frank, in the first 2 games that City have played this season, Pep Guardiola made 8 changes from the team at Arsenal who played Burnley the other night. Is it an ambition of yours to develop a squad at Chelsea to be able to do that, to be able to change players at when and where you want to that are involved in important games?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily an ambition. I think if a club is involved in so many competitions like City generally are, ourselves generally are, I think it's a reality of rotation. But I think also the amount of hard work that Pep Guardiola and Manchester City have put in as a club over the last 4 years or whatever it is, just to add players to the squad, develop their own. You look at Phil Foden's performance the other night. And to work on the training ground so you can be fluid and players know their roles. And I think that comes with work and it comes with time. So, we're obviously in a different phase. If you can do that and you have people working and can come in and fill in, that's exactly that. Ultimately, that is where you want to get to. And they have such a strong squad and such strong individuals that fair play to them, they can do that and maintain a level of performance. So yes, of course, every club wants that.
As a player, you made your debut at 17 and went on to make 650 appearances. You use your younger players on a regular basis. Can you understand what Pep's doing with Phil Foden, playing him not in a sort of run of games to develop him that quickly, whereas people like Mason Mount are coming on in leaps and bounds?
I think every young player is absolutely different, depending on themselves, depending on their circumstances and the manager, and even the young players at our club have different journeys through the academy into the first team. Some come in depending on who's in their position, and I think it's certainly not for me to speculate as to Pep Guardiola, as if I would ever speculate about how he should do his job. And also the talent of Phil Foden is there for everybody to see. So I'll concentrate on our young players and try and develop them as best as we can.
Okay, next up we'll go to Vaishali at Premier League Productions.
Hi, Frank. Can you hear me?
Hi, gotcha.
First question for me. Obviously, Chelsea are now 5 points clear of Manchester United, but you're closing in on Leicester now following their 2 draws. Is third spot now an aim for Chelsea this season?
I think we have to be realistic and have to be honest. We look above us, we look below us, and we try and amass as many points as we can. I think Leicester have been fantastic this season. We know that. The fact that we're 3 points off them, we can be aware of, but we also have our own tough games in front of us. So I think it's something that we need to absolutely focus on ourselves to try and get as high up the league as we can. Leicester are at one place above us. We obviously set our sights there, but the competition is fierce for top 4. I'm not focusing on Leicester or just Manchester United or just Wolves or just Sheffield United or Tottenham. I think we focus on ourselves.
And obviously Manchester City have come back after the restart in fine form. You only narrowly lost to them in the reverse fixture. What can you take away from that match that you can sort of put into place for tomorrow's game?
Probably the fact that when you play a team of the level of Manchester City, you can play well, and we did play well in the day. We certainly matched them, I thought, in general play. But if you have a couple of moments in the game, you switch off, they constantly will have individuals and a team, a way of playing that gives you problems. So we'll have to be at our best. We have to try and match the level of performance we did, take our chances when we get them, because we had some up there that we didn't take, and also be very, very vigilant in how we defend, and the work ethic of the team and the defensive nature has to be huge to try and stop them playing. So yeah, it's a huge challenge. We know that every time we play City, but we have to believe in ourselves, be confident, and give it our best. Because if we do, I have pure belief in this team that they can go up against anybody.
And next up, we'll go to Giuseppe at the Evening Standard.
Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Frank, that 2-1 defeat at City in November, I think it was only 3 or 4 months into your reign. Obviously, while you weren't happy to lose the game, you played really well. I think you said afterwards that you'd seen evidence that the team was progressing. Appreciate the circumstances are slightly different this time. Slightly strange. It's only your second game back. But is tomorrow another chance in your own mind to measure how much the team's growing?
I think every game is an opportunity to see the growth of the team. What a game brings you never know going into it. Aston Villa, we go behind. It's nice to see a bit of character and in the way we played to come back. But of course, when you're playing at City, I think there are benchmarks for you. We have to say, as a club like Chelsea, we want to be at that level, competing for first, competing in cup competitions. And Chelsea in recent history have been there a lot. But at the moment, we know we're in slightly different situations. We want to get there. We want to close that gap. So when you go head to head, great opportunity for the players.
Okay, last two, Nick Purell and then Nazar to finish.
Hi, Frank. Thanks for your time. As always, just on Willian and his situation long term, can a really strong end to the season help you maybe twist his arm to stay on for just a bit longer at Chelsea?
I really don't want to get in the beyond this season. I want Willian to play his best football for the next 9 or whatever games it is, depending on our cup run. And that's it. And behind the scenes, we can talk. I get on very well with Willian himself. The club get on very well with him. So we'll see what happens with that one. Same again.
Okay, last question in the broadcast section, Nazar.
Hi, Frank. Just a bit more on Willian and Pedro. I saw your longer-term deals with Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech being sort of a really positive move of the way the club's moving off the field. Is this another example of how well the club dealt with something really difficult, potentially, losing 2 big players during a season? Is that an example of the club working really well for you off the field as well?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is work on and off the field together in the right and in a positive way. And I think hopefully with the movement of the players that we've brought in now already, that showed. And with the players here, we try and have a good relationship with them from start to end of being a Chelsea player. I think that's important. That's how the club should work. And I think we do that together. I try and have a good relationship on the pitch and off the pitch. And of course, as a board, we do that ourselves. So the conversations have been relatively easy. And when I say that, I say both teams, both club and players wanted the same thing. But at the same time, you have to understand their part and they understand ours. And it was pretty simple because we have a good relationship. So yeah, if that's the way it works, hopefully we can carry on going forward in all senses.
Okay, that's the end of the broadcast. We're now going to go into the